Yo, 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 what's going on? Oop. Let's bring you a little closer. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Monday Night Movies, aka The Correct Opinion. I am your host, Anthony. Look, I'm going to do my best to be your guide in these weekly movie updates. Now, we're starting off with something new. I know. A lot of you who do check me out for things like From, Foundation, Dark Matter, and even a little bit of House of the Dragon. I know you all stick around for these shows, and I want you to stick around for this as I add something new to our weekly projects. In this show, I want to talk about my favorite shows. I want to talk about my favorite movies, and I want you to talk about your favorite shows and movies from the past week and give a shout out to them on The Correct Opinion. So hold on. I'm going to turn through a few topics of the news that caught my attention from the past week, give a little taste on my thoughts on this stuff, and ask you all to chime in the comments. So let's hop to it. There's a lot of news this week. Lots of news this week. Let's see. We got any? I see a couple of y'all up in here. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. Hey, if y'all see anything that's interesting, comment. I'm going to shout y'all out. Anyway, this week's news, like I said, we have a lot to talk about. Of course, we got that hot D episode, everyone. Yeah. Who watched House of the Dragon last night, right? Rhaenyra is arming up her forces and has enlisted some Targaryen dragon seeds to help her in her war against the Greens. Did anybody else get Jurassic Park vibes from this episode? Yo, Vermithor was our Westerosi T-Rex in this episode, except he cooked his food before eating. And we also have the big news about the Deadpool and Wolverine box office. Like, the box office for this film was so incredible that we're going to be writing about stories for this movie's success for months to come. And the cameos. Did y'all see all of the cameos? If y'all didn't see all the cameos, I'm sure Twitter spoiled it for you. And of course, definitely not least, we have that major news of Robert Downey Jr. returning to Marvel Studios, but not as the heroic Iron Man. Yeah, that's right. Marvel said none of those European actors could possibly play Victor Von Doom better than Robert Downey Jr. So for all of you Killian crybabies still out there holding out hope, I ain't even gonna lie, yo, I'm crying with you. But we have to learn to reconcile with the decisions that Kevin Feige is making for the MCU. All of this and more on our Monday Night Movies, aka The Correct Opinion. Okay, so first up, Deadpool and Wolverine has clawed its way to the top of the box office, smashing records left and right. In its opening weekend, the movie brought in a staggering $200 million. Yeah, you heard that right. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are back, and they're breaking more than just a fourth wall. The film, blending the snark of Deadpool with Wolverine's gruff demeanor, has struck box office gold, proving once again that audiences still do love a good superhero team-up. The movie's success is a testament to the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, who have turned their on-screen camaraderie into box office gold. So let's get into the nitty-gritty, right? Deadpool and Wolverine didn't just stroll in the theaters. It came in like a wrecking ball, smashing records left and right. First up, it nabbed the highest R-rated opening of all time, raking in a cool $444.1 million worldwide, and that's $211 million domestic. That's right. Deadpool dethroned Deadpool? Because the first movie actually held the previous record, but this sequel just said, hold my beer. And it didn't stop there. The movie also had the biggest global opening since Avatar: The Way of Water. It's definitely making waves, right? Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are officially box office royalty at this point. Ryan even had his biggest domestic opening ever, beating out his own record with the first Deadpool. And Hugh, he sliced through his previous best, outdoing X-Men: The Last Stand. These guys are sharp at these numbers. The film helped the MCU continue to dominate as the highest grossing film franchise of all time, pulling in a whopping $30 billion across 34 titles. And guess what? Deadpool and Wolverine also marks Marvel's 34th consecutive MCU release to debut at #1 domestically. That's really impressive. I can't even front. I didn't even realize that they released all 34 of their movies to debut at #1. Let's talk about the real heroes, the fans. Social media is lit with reactions. Some folks are loving the blend of humor and action, saying it's the best thing since Wi-Fi. Others are already speculating about what's next. Could this mean like a bigger role for these characters in Avengers Secret Wars? We'll find out given time. One thing's for sure, Marvel knows how to keep us hooked. It's not just these numbers that are impressive. Fans and critics alike are raving about the film's unique blend of humor, action, and heart. I know when I saw the movie, I came out glowing, singing praises for Marvel, ready to hop back in. As someone who was out, I was back in. It's a mix that only Deadpool and Wolverine could deliver, with their banter adding this fresh twist to the superhero genre that captivated my heart. Their journey through alternate realities also allowed for some really cool, unexpected cameos that went so far with keeping me on my toes. This is not just a regular superhero movie. It's a Marvel fan cultural event. If you've somehow managed to not be spoiled on social media and you're a little bit curious, maybe you were turned off from Marvel in the past and you're wondering if now's a good time, go see this movie. If you've already seen the spoilers, I'm going to be pretty disappointed if you see this movie. So what does this mean for the future of Marvel projects? If Deadpool and Wolverine is any indication, we can probably expect more bold and unconventional pairings like this. The success of this film could pave the way for other characters to cross paths in unexpected ways. Fans are already wondering, when are we going to see Deadpool and Spider-Man? Look, the multiverse concept has opened up a Pandora's box of storytelling possibilities, and we can't wait to see what's next. For now, though, let's just enjoy the ride and watch this dynamic duo continue to dominate the box office. Ooh, and there's more. There is more. You guys ready for this one? All right. Speaking of Marvel, the big news this week is the return of Robert Downey Jr. to the MCU. Yep, you heard that right. Just when we thought Tony Stark was out, well, he's still out. But Robert Downey Jr. is back in. Marvel dropped this bombshell at Comic-Con, and fans don't really understand why he was cast as Dr. Doom. And just in case you were wondering, Downey was not announced as a Tony Stark variant that becomes Dr. Doom. No, the Russos said it loud and clear. He is stepping into the role of Victor Von Doom himself. Look, this news has sparked a whirlwind of theories and speculation. How will the person who has the face of Tony Stark become Dr. Doom? What does this mean for the MCU's continuity? Marvel has always been tight-lipped about their plans, but this move suggests that they're willing to risk it. It's absolutely a huge gamble that I can only compare to when, I don't know, WWE. You remember earlier this year, WrestleMania, and they announced that The Rock was replacing Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania? It's a lot like that. I don't know if social media is going to step up to this one the way they did for the WrestleMania thing. But I'm hoping you guys do. It's not a name that was on anyone's wish list for Dr. Doom casting, but Marvel really has a checkered history with fan casting. Marvel infamously adhered to fans' demands for John Krasinski to be cast as Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange 2, just for Kevin Feige himself to suggest the character's most brutal way to be taken out of that movie. He chose that. Rather than succumbing to fan requests for his return in future films, John Krasinski, I mean, Marvel instead chose to cast actor Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, seemingly closing the door on any potential for Krasinski's return moving forward. Whether you're excited or skeptical, one thing's for sure, this news has everyone talking. right? Fan reaction has been somewhat mixed, to put it mildly. Emir Khan wrote, Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom could be the laziest movie casting ever. It feels not right. New Rock Stars just straight up posted, how are we feeling about RDJ's casting as Doom? And some folks have chimed in with this person, just OT7. What if it's a prank? I have a feeling that it's a prank to hide the real casting. And that sounds like wishful thinking. Someone else even said, Olin, aka MMA Anomaly, wrote, pretty weak reveal. I've even gone as far as to find casuals making fun of Marvel fans. Let's see. Look, y'all, I don't like casuals making fun of me. But this is the world that we live in now. Became the butt of a joke. Of course, this announcement raises questions about the future of other beloved characters. If Robert Downey Jr. could come back as Doctor Doom, what about others we've lost along the way? Will we see the cast of the Avengers be cast as the X-Men? Look, the multiverse concept opens up endless possibilities, and it seems Marvel is more than willing to explore them. For now, we'll have to wait and see how this storyline unfolds, but one thing's for certain, the MCU is not what we expected it to be. Moving right along. Oh, Avengers Doomsday. There's more to it, right? So they did announce that Robert Downey Jr. was coming back for not one, but presumably two movies, with the first one being Avengers Doomsday, which used to be Avengers the King Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars. In more ways than one, Avengers Doomsday is shaping up to be quite the cinematic event, but not without a little bit more of the behind the scenes drama, because only Stephen McFeely, one half of the dynamic writing duo behind Avengers Endgame, is returning for this installment. Yeah, that's right. No Christopher Marcus this time around. It's kind of like peanut butter without jelly. Sure, it's still good, but something's missing. Fans are curious and a bit concerned about how this change will affect the film's tone and storyline. Now, we've been reassured that Avengers Doomsday is still going to pack a punch, promising an epic tale that honors the legacy of the Avengers. But let's be honest, it's going to be hard to not miss this guy's touch, because the duo's previous work included Captain America the Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War. And those films set a super high bar for superhero storytelling. Their collaboration with the Russo brothers has been nothing short of legendary, and their absence is going to be felt. McFeely is a seasoned writer, and his solo work will be under the microscope as fans eagerly await the film's release. The plot of Avengers Doomsday remains under wraps, but rumors suggest it'll dive deeper into darker themes and more complex character arcs. With only one half of the original writing team, the movie might take on a new tone. Maybe it's grittier, maybe it's more introspective, maybe it's more jokes. Look, the stakes are certainly high, as this film is going to set the stage for the future of the MCU. It's going to be a pivotal moment, and McFeely's script is going to play a crucial role in shaping the next phase of superhero cinema. The return of the Russo brothers as directors, it adds a layer of continuity and confidence to the project. Their vision combined with McFeely's writing promises, at least what we hope, to deliver a film that both honors the past and looks towards the future. Now, fans are going to be in for a roller coaster of emotions with twists and turns that are sure to surprise. Now, as we inch closer to the release date, the anticipation is going to start to build. We've got 2 years till we get there, but the buzz is palpable. Will Avengers Doomsday live up to the hype? Are you guys excited about all of the news and the casting and everything we've been hearing so far? Only time's going to tell, but one thing's for sure. It's going to be a wild ride. What else happened? Oh, San Diego Comic-Con actually had some more news for us this weekend. Alien Romulus. Whew, Alien Romulus made a big splash. Literally. The panel for this upcoming sci-fi horror film was a spectacle to behold, complete with the surprise appearance by none other than face huggers. Yeah, face hug. Those things. A swarm of these iconic creatures flooded the room and gave attendees an experience that they're never going to forget. It's one thing to watch these little horrors on screen. It's another to see them in person. Now, the director and the cast, including Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson, were on hand to witness the chaos, proving that this franchise still knows how to shock and awe. The panel wasn't just about scares, though, right? Attendees were treated to exclusive footage from the film, including a taped message from Ridley Scott himself. Now, Scott's involvement as a producer keeps the Alien legacy alive, and his blessing on this new installment adds a layer of credibility. Alien Romulus promises to take the franchise back to its roots with a focus on the sheer terror and suspense that made the original films classics. Now, this is going to be a return to form that fans have been eagerly awaiting, and the reaction at Comic-Con suggests that they're going to be in for a major treat. The highlight of the event, I'm told, was a chest burster moment on the floor of Hall H. In a move straight out of the films, a staged chest bursting scene took place in front of the audience, complete with practical effects and, of course, screaming. This was a bold marketing move that paid off. Fans left out of Hall H both terrified and thrilled. The panel ended on a high note with attendees receiving their own facehugger masks. I'm sure it's a souvenir that they're going to cherish from now until Halloween and scaring their siblings. As the movie gears up for its August release, the buzz is building on Alien Romulus. It's a movie that's promising to deliver some heart-pounding, edge-of-your-seat horror that the Alien franchise is known for. So whether you're a longtime fan or if you're new to the series, this movie is shaping up to be a must-see. So get ready to face your fears. Alien Romulus is coming, and it's bringing all the face huggers and all the chest bursters that you can handle. Whew. From season 3. Oh, man. What can I say about From Season 3 that I haven't already said about From Season 3? Look, there's a new trailer that was released over the weekend. E-Man and I did a live stream the minute it debuted. In addition to that, I also did another deep dive into this trailer where I go into all the details and Easter eggs that were hidden that might give us clues as to the greater mystery that we're all trying to solve in the show From. If you haven't seen my videos, I highly recommend go to the channel on YouTube at the movie blog, watch this video, or just watch it on our website. You're gonna love it. Trust me. In addition to From, Rings of Power dropped a new trailer at the San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm told it's as epic as you'd expect. Honestly, I'm gonna watch this trailer with you all live. Let's go. Okay. What's that smoke one? You can't hear the trailer? No sound. Nah, you should definitely have sound. You can't hear me? Oh, you hear me. All right. You couldn't hear the trailer. Okay. No sound for that? Oh, okay, okay. Well, listen, it's probably for the best so I don't get demonetized, but let me see if I can fix this right quick. Cause you definitely are supposed to be having sound. Let's try this one more time. It's probably I just let it rock for now. I appreciate you though. But honestly, if you haven't seen this trailer, I do have it on the movie blog. Here, I'll drop this link for you in the chat. You could go check it out directly. But I can't even front. Look, I know a lot of people don't really say good things about Rings of Power. And I saw the show, I saw the first season, and I didn't really begin to enjoy the show until I got into like maybe the third act of the first season. I think the show had this thing where it was trying to build up a reveal that appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. The show had this thing where it had to build up the reveal of, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but like if you haven't seen it, it's not a show that isn't trying to be good. It is a show that is rubbing a lot of Tolkien fans a little funny because the casting isn't what they imagined. The story isn't something that was specifically told by Tolkien himself. And anytime you really mess with people's nostalgia, you open up the doors for criticism for them to kind of rip you a new one when you try to do something new. I thought the show could have been better with faster pacing, but I really believe the first season is one of those shows where it's a show where you enjoy the destination more than you enjoy the journey. Once I got to the big reveal in the third act, it made me appreciate the first two acts a little bit more because you can tell that they were more so setting the table for storytelling that they wanted to do in the future. This trailer was kind of solid. I honestly believe that they're really trying hard. They're digging into some of the fan favorite things like the appearance of Tom Bombadil, and we've got all sorts of Easter eggs for Lord of the Rings movie fans that they're really trying to, attract us to watch this second season. I was on the fence for a little bit as to whether or not this would be a show that I would cover. I think August 29th is a little bit too close to for me to do weekly coverage on it because I'm going to be devoting a lot of my time to that. But it is a show that I'm going to keep in the back burner. I'll probably watch it and just share my opinion as the show goes on throughout the week on these weekly shows. But I don't think I'm going to do full on deep dives into it. But overall, the series, it's beautiful, right? It's a visual feast from the start. And this new footage, it suggests that the showrunners are doubling down on all those fantasy elements that we really love, right? It's definitely a world full of wonder, danger. There's a lot of intrigue. There's magic. There's wizards. There's elves. And the new season looks to expand on that mythology of Middle Earth by giving those lords their rings of power. I'm really curious about the Nine. Now, for all of my Lord of the Rings fans, we know who the Nine are, right? We're going to see the Nazgul? Yo, I'm ready for this, right? Because the stakes are just going higher and higher. And we all know that this is a story that has a tragic ending, right? This does not have a happy ending. So watching this show, watching how they're it's clear that no expense is being spared. There's a lot to look forward to if they really change some of the and address the complaints from the first season and just really pour into the second season. I'm hoping that this is one of those shows that really finds their stride in season 2, kind of like Foundation, and takes off from there. But I'm curious what other people think of the show. Are you guys watching this? Right? This trailer is it was a little bit more interesting than the season 1. If you do watch season 1, Smoke, I do kind of recommend, like, it wouldn't hurt if you watch some recaps, right? The pacing could be a little rough, but like if you watch like maybe 4 of the episodes, you'll be good. One moment. Let me make sure the wife is happy. But yeah, like I said, this new season is clear that the stakes are going up. The show's creators seem to be pulling out all the stops. They're trying to make sure that they make us happy this time. I want to see some solid character development. I want to see Sauron. I want to see, the Rings of Power. I want to see who the stranger is. I want to see Tom Bombadil because he's a character I just never saw in the films. How's he going to be involved in this overall narrative, right? As the only being that's immune to the Ring of Power. This is, they're definitely setting a lot of groundwork and leaving a lot of clues for hardcore Lord of the Rings fans to be curious. So I'm curious what everyone else is going to be thinking of this show. The premiere is coming August 29th. The excitement is starting to pick up, especially from the reaction of the San Diego Comic-Con crowd. I'm really curious to see what happens with this afterwards. Ooh, but yeah, there's some more movie news, right? It was a bit busy weekend with movie news thanks to the San Diego Comic-Con. So let's just wrap it up with movie news and talk about the Fantastic Four. So Marvel's first family is back and they're making waves again with this new cast photo and some early footage that was revealed at Comic-Con. The cast, including Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Susan Storm, they look ready to bring us these iconic characters to life. Now, the early footage gave us a glimpse of the team going into space, and we also had a decent look at Galactus. Marvel is aiming to kind of bring that comic book vibe with a different twist. We're hoping that the chemistry among the cast is really going to be the glue that makes it interesting. The first thing about this team, even though it's called Fantastic Four First Steps, they're really Fantastic Four the First Family. This is Marvel's team that isn't really a superhero team, more as they're a super family that does superheroing on occasion. I wouldn't even compare them with the Incredibles, as the Incredibles would go out and patrol crime. You're not going to see the Fantastic Four stopping bank robbers like that. This is going to be a different type of team, and this film is actually a pivotal moment for the MCU. It's going to introduce these beloved characters, it's going to introduce them to a new generation, and it's going to introduce another era film or period piece film for the MCU. From what we're told, this movie looks to take place in the 60s in an alternate reality, but it's almost like a futuristic 60s. Think more of the Jetsons and less of whatever it is we have now with cell phones and video calls. Now, the inclusion of stars like Pedro Pascal and Kirby, it adds a layer of, gravitas to the project. And it does give the impression that Marvel is really serious about doing justice to this movie. The early reactions from fans and critics, they've been pretty positive, with many liking the film's tone and direction. I'm curious. I'm also optimistic with director Matt Shakman taking on the reins, leap from WandaVision, having done work on Monarch, and now coming back to Marvel with Fantastic Four. It's clear that they're really trying to infuse a lot of new energy into these characters while still honoring their rich history. Now, I'm curious about how this is going to turn out, and I'm curious if the excitement for this, if there's really a lot of excitement for this film. It's building. I'm trying to build it up high. The Fantastic Four isn't really a team that I typically check for, but I do know that they are integral to Marvel's comic book universe. They were the launch pad for many teams and many characters. You can't be a real Marvel superhero until you've had your interaction with the Fantastic Four. And their introduction into the MCU has been a long awaited thing. So we've got a talented cast, we've got an interesting director, we got a fresh take on the story. This film does have the potential to be a game changer. I know fans are eager to see how these characters are going to fit into the broader MCU. I'm curious what you guys think of what we have in store with our Fantastic Four. But yeah, our first family is back, and they're ready to take the spotlight. Gothic chick, welcome. Look, stop being so excited about the Fantastic Four. Okay, this is too much. I can't take all this excitement. But yeah, that's all the movie news I had for this week. Other thing I wanted to do was just touch a little bit on this week's episode of House of the Dragon. I didn't do my deep dive and recap video like I normally do. Unfortunately, I was sick as a dog over the weekend. I'm feeling a little bit better today. So I was hoping that I could kind of run through this recap with you guys together. Give me 1 second. Let me swap this out for us. Here we go. Ooh. So, yo, House of the Dragon was a wild episode. This episode had me so excited. And I'm gonna just hop right into it, right? Because like this episode, it opened up wild with Rhaenyra storming in on Adam like a mom catching her kid playing with fire, literally. Like she's all fire and brimstone, ready to rain on Adam's parade, and it kind of makes sense because Rhaenyra was counting on that dragon to increase her numbers in the war with the Greens. Um, it could have been a problem. But Adam was cool about it, explaining that he didn't really want any smoke with Rhaenyra, right? He wasn't really looking to stir the pot. He's just a guy that the dragon picked. Meanwhile, Sea Smoke and Cyrax started to size each other up. And just when we thought we might get some Dragon Royal Rumble WWE, the tension kind of fizzled out, but it was just like a tease, right? It was a tease. I know I was ready for some dragon action. Now, my man Adam, he says that he's ready to bend the knee. And Rhaenyra, after an emotional roller coaster, she actually started to warm up to this unexpected ally. Did I mention how much I love the diversity in this show? Right? They didn't just cast Black people, they cast dark-skinned Black people, which I feel just needs to happen more. Anyway, I just had to say that. We then switch to Allison, who's patching up her latest boo-boos. And what's with these rats, right? They're like a medieval version of a bad omen. Anybody else notice that this rat popped up again? Allison decides that she needs a change of scenery, and she ropes in Sir Rickard for a field trip out of the castle. Eamon, ever the strict HR manager, is sending knights to the wall for protecting Allison. Right? Those knights that were sitting there when Allison got attacked last episode with Helena, they were charged with inciting a riot. A little bit harsh, right? And Lord Jasper and Sir Larys are busy gossiping about Sea Smoke's new rider, like it's the latest hot gossip in the castle, like it's trended. And Jasper wants to be the bearer of bad news to Aemon, but Larys, ever the schemer, suggests maybe just keeping it under wraps might be smarter, which is wild because, he is the master of whispers, right? Isn't sharing his information supposed to be his thing? We also see that Rhaenyra's Black Council finds out that the person riding around on Sea Smoke works for Lord Corlys. And Rhaenyra brought the dragon rider back and instructed her team that he should be taught how to ride a dragon and be taught to speak High Valyrian. Corlys backs up her decision, which I thought was kind of cool, but Jace isn't happy about it, and especially because he's feeling like he's being shut out. And I can't even front. He has a legit reason for being concerned, and I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. It's in this moment that we see Rhaenyra return to her room, but interestingly, she only consults with Mysaria. And Mysaria reminds Rhaenyra that there are a lot of unclaimed Targaryen kids running around Westeros. Daemon, Viserys, and a whole horde of Targaryen men before them would just lay seeds in brothels and leave them behind. Mysaria reminds her that maybe if y'all stop acting like they don't exist, then maybe you can go find some dragon riders. And this is tough for Rhaenyra, and she tries to give it some legit level of thought, even if she doesn't see how this is going to be a problem for Jace down the line. Adam gets his first taste of the finer things in life as he's given a room with a bed in a castle. Lord Corlys walks in looking like a king, and Adam asked if he could please be allowed to be a dragon rider, please, sir, daddy. And I love this moment. I love this interaction between Corlys and Adam because so much is being said without being said. He's just like, your grace, how you've come up. And then the one thing that really, really touched Adam was when he says, well done. And I swear to you, the only thing Adam hears is I love you. We then switch to Daemon meeting with Oscar Tully, and Daemon tells Oscar to fall in line. They promised their swords to Viserys, so that also means that they promised their armies to his name heir. Oscar tells him that he made a mess of things, and look at this mess. Look at this mess. And Daemon ain't even worried, but Oscar is like, dude, they all hate you. All the houses hate you. And I love how Oscar and Daemon have this interaction in this episode. We see more of it when Daemon steps outside and the lords of the different houses are waiting under that weirwood tree. And Daemon basically tells the river lords to just act like it didn't happen. Right? All that crazy, just act like it did. So? Oh, on top of that, Oscar promised me all your armies. And they start realizing that they're listening to a child, right? It's in this moment they start questioning, why are we even doing this? Oscar tells them something very clever. He starts role-playing a little bit. He's clearly an educated game player. Grandsire taught him well. Oscar tells them that he hates Daemon too, but he's honoring tradition, and that means falling in line with Rhaenyra and her husband. Daemon kind of doesn't like this kid talking slick about him, but he also swallows his pride in order to get what he needs. William Blackwood is the first person to get in line and pledges his house, but Oscar gets on his ass for the way that he waged war on the Brackens and arrests him. Now, Oscar then gets gangster and tells Daemon to just take William's head. Daemon, so it took me a while to process why Daemon did it and what was going through his head. And it's in this moment that I had to understand that Daemon raised up this dude, Sir William Blackwood, to be his number one. This dude was just his hitman. He was doing all the dirty work. And Daemon, while he's not a wholly honorable man, he's a somewhat honorable guy, especially to those who are working with him. Him taking William Blackwood's head was a sign of like contrition. He didn't want to get rid of his number one, right? This is like I don't know, a Jedi master taking out his Padawan. It's not really what you want to do, but because of all of the things that he's learning, all of the lessons that were instilled in him while in Harrenhal, he's realizing that he can't just be the same Daemon he's always been and be successful. Either way, this was a really cool moment. I really enjoyed the slick talk from Oscar. I love the back and forth, and I love how this is affecting Daemon, and we're seeing his character growth. Even if I am sick of this Harrenhal story. Look at that. Appreciate you, E-Man, stopping by. Just dropping some support for Team Black. Get those likes up, y'all. Support this channel. I appreciate you, my guy. E-Man from E-Man's Reviews. Y'all already know. So again, this episode was really cool in that moment. We got to see what happened with William Blackwood, and we got to see Daemon's growth in that moment. What happened? I could comment? I didn't even know I could comment. So Daemon then goes into his room with that bed made from the weirwood tree. But before he sees that, am I the only one who's noticing this recurring themes of goats? Like, goats are clearly a terrible sign, right? If you see a goat, it's got like some pagan symbolism. My guy keeps seeing them as he's walking through Harrenhal. This is just another sign that Daemon is about to go into a dream. I also wonder if this goat is Alice Rivers. Maybe she can shapeshift into different animals. One thing that she said earlier in the season was that she was an owl forced to take the shape of a human being. And I wondered just how much she was joking. Daemon then goes to his room with that bed made from the weirwood tree, and we see old King Viserys sitting on the side of the bed. And then he tells him how, you know, the crown is more like a weight and a burden, and it's not really something that you really want. And Daemon really begins to process how much the crown has taken from him in his pursuit of the crown. And I really enjoy seeing this character growth. I'm a sucker for good character development. You give me a character with a really good arc and I see how they've come out the other end transformed in a meaningful way, and you have me every day of the week. This is my kind of story. We then switch to see Maester Orwyle trying to get Aegon to practice walking, and Sir Larys kind of barges in while Aegon is in agony and then sets him up to look like Aegon's savior. And Sir Larys even gives him a pep talk to work harder to get in walking shape. And I was wondering about this moment because he even spoke to Maester Orwyle and was saying something along the lines like, you know, he may not have a lot of time to practice walking. And I can't help but wonder if Sir Larys is planning to smuggle Aegon out of King's Landing. Like, maybe he's just going to get him out of there. We then switch to Lord Corlys telling Adam to go run some errands for him for the war. And he also tells him that Adam is a dragon rider. And for the very first time, he tells Alan, for the very first time when he's telling this to Alan, he kind of acknowledges Alan as his son. Anybody else notice this? Like when he saw Adam, he had a moment where they started to talk about their lineage, their blood, and how their blood came from old Valyria. And to my knowledge, I don't think he's really acknowledged or had a conversation with Alan where he spoke to him as father to son. He explains how Adam is a dragon rider now. His brother moved up in the world. And it felt like in this moment that he also asked Adam if he wanted to ride a dragon too and try to be a dragon rider. And Adam just kind of like played it off, and he was like, yo, I'm from Salt and Sea. And I love how Adam said that because it was exactly the same line that we heard from Baela earlier in the season when she said, look, grandsire, you want to name me heir to Driftmark, but I am fire and blood. And what Driftmark needs is salt and sea. And here comes Adam saying that same exact thing. So I'm really excited to see how they further develop Adam as a character. You already see he's wearing Lord Corliss's sigil on his chest now that he's his first mate. It only needs to go a little bit further, Dad. We then switch and we see Rhaena leaving the Vale to go to Pentos. But as soon as Lady Jane closes the door, Rhaena runs off from her caravan and heads out into a nearby valley, following the signs of the wild dragon that you heard about last episode. Now, I love how she's taken an interest in this dragon. I don't know too much about the books, but it does feel like that they're changing something here. I don't want to spoil anything. I'm sure some of y'all might say it in the comments, but I'm wondering what direction Rhaena is going to go and whether or not she may be looking to claim this wild dragon. We then switch to Alicent out in Kingswood with Sir Rickard, and it looks like they're pretending to be freaking homeless, right? They look like they got like they look like they pretending to be homeless. And Sir Rickard asks Alicent if they're just pretending. And Alicent's like, I don't really know if we're pretending, homie. We might just stay. Yeah. And I understand why she would want to be out here instead of the castle. The castle is not really that most ideal place to be right now. We then switch to Jace and Rhaenyra, and Jace is feeling himself, right? Jace is like upset. He starts talking all sorts of reckless to Rhaenyra, kind of like a new president talking to an incumbent. He's getting more and more upset about the decisions of the old cabinet. And Rhaenyra lets him have his tantrum, but also reminds him that they're in a war and they're outgunned. Now, Jace is worried that one of these lick-spittle randoms might start saying that they have a more legitimate claim to the throne than this dark-haired dude. And it really might be a problem for him in the long run. When you took Harwin Strong into your bed, did you think I might favor him, or did it not cross your mind? And this is a legitimate problem for Jace, right? Because think about it. We saw what happened in this episode with Hugh and Ulf claiming dragons. Ulf's dragon is bigger than Jace's. Vermithor is ginormous. Let's say hypothetically Rhaenyra wins the war, takes the Iron Throne, and then passes away. Obviously, the next person to succeed would be her named heir. But we're living in a time when we know things don't go that smoothly when someone else can challenge your claim to the throne. We know Hugh is of royal lineage, and he's closer to the throne probably than Jace is. With silver hair, purple eyes, and a giant dragon, when Rhaenyra's gone, what's him to just say, actually, it should be me? This is a problem. And Rhaenyra lets us know that she honestly didn't think about that, right? And Jace is screwed. Now, I'm also starting to see that Mysaria is possibly playing a much bigger game than I gave her credit for, right? Because what if Jace's worst nightmare really did happen, right? And that one of these small folk Targaryens wanted to make a claim? Wouldn't that kind of line up with what we've been hearing from the small folk so far, especially Mysaria? What if she was able to manipulate the whole King's Landing, the Greens and the Blacks, in order to raise a Targaryen that was raised with regular folks to rule over the Seven Kingdoms instead? You know what I mean? Like, think about that, right? Because Mysaria could just be sitting here playing a long game. Why not Ulf? Why not Hugh? She might think that's better than what we've been seeing with Aegon hanging the rat catchers and Aemon being an absolute monster. So again, I think Mysaria is playing a much bigger, much longer game in the long run than we're actually giving her credit for. And Rhaenyra is falling right into her trap. We're going to see how this one plays out, but that's my theory right now. I think Mysaria is on to something. Let's see. Oh, what else happened? Ulf hears the news that Rhaenyra... What you got for me, Fernandez? Oh, first off, Fernandez, thank you. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you. Team Green, Otto for Prez. Yo, Otto needs to come back, yo. Otto needs to, like, he was the best hand in Westeros history, because he was the hand to Viserys, the king before, so for Viserys and King Aegon for a while. And when you think about it, Viserys and the king before him were years of peace. So Otto was a good hand until he wanted to just be crazy and seize power and put Aegon on the throne without realizing how to control him. I was talking to my buddy Eman about this earlier, and it's not like when Tywin and the Lannisters were putting Joffrey on the throne. Because when Joffrey was on the throne, yeah, he was a monster, but he was a monster that Tywin could control. The king is tired. Send him to bed. You guys remember that, right? Otto couldn't control Aegon. Aegon fired him and made Sir Criston the hand, and Aegon just went into hiding. So I do respect Otto. I do think that he was the best hand that we've seen thus far, but he made a tragic mistake. Yeah, Mysaria doing a side quest against her queen is really interesting. So I'm curious where this really goes and what we're going to see going into the final episode. Fernandez T says, we need more intrigue, to be honest. Not much twist this season. So, excuse me. So, yeah, I can see that. There wasn't really too many twisted. Well, I mean, let me think about it. Like, the season opened up with a pretty big twist. I didn't expect Jaehaerys, the king's son, to go out the way he did. I didn't expect the battle at Rook's Rest to go the way it did. I'm not a book reader, so I didn't really see that coming. When Rhaenys was taken out, that that was a surprise. That messed me up. But I was disappointed that the pacing slowed down since then. I think this is probably the closest to the pace that we've seen in that episode and at the end of this one. And I'm really, really hoping that it picks up on the season finale. Just a little bit of insight for you all. You guys know I'm a critic. I receive screeners. I am allowed to see these episodes a little bit earlier in order to help prepare my videos for the recaps. This episode came really late. This episode came really, really late. They held off on giving us this episode until it was really close to release. I'm assuming because they didn't want any spoilers or leaks. And furthermore, we're not getting the finale. If you hear any critics saying they've seen it, it's cap. We're not getting the finale. I'm really close with the folks at HBO. If it was going out, I'm sure I would get it. We're not getting it. So whatever happens in this finale is so it's so sensitive to the folks at HBO that they don't even want screeners out. Now, I know back in, I think it was episode 1 in my first recap, I looked up the actor Alan of Hull, and if you look him up on social media, you'll see that his avatar is a picture of Adam in full armor. Now, we haven't seen him in full armor in the show yet, but he was dressed in full armor. So that tells me either they cut it out of a previous episode or we're going to see it in the next episode. So I'm excited to see what they do with Adam in the future episodes. But Fernandez, appreciate you. Welcome to the channel. For all 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of you guys watching, look, I think Gothic Chick knows this. I do like to do giveaways. I'm going to give some information about a giveaway later in this episode. I've been wondering a few things I've been wanting to give away. I have my talisman. I've been wondering if I'm going to give that away. I have a few movies that I give away from critic stuff. I also have this whole thing I got from National Geographic about Shark Fest. I'm ready to mail out my next gift box. If you want a gift box, I'll probably do 2 this week. Do me a favor, email me promotions@themovieblog.com. I'm only giving this to y'all who are live streaming. If you're interested in getting a free box of swag, I will mail it out to you. Email me at promotions@themovieblog.com. I will email you back. We'll exchange information, and I'll send you a tracking number. Appreciate you all for coming in here. This is just my token of appreciation. I really hope to continue doing this, and I appreciate you giving me your time. But let's get back to this episode because we saw that my man Ulf was out here. He's been drinking, and he finds out that Rhaenyra is recruiting Targaryen bastards, and he gets a little nervous, right? He gets a little nervous because he says straight up, "I'm not 100% sure I'm really Targaryen, right? That's just what I was told." And it's not like they have Maury, right? There's no Westerosi DNA tests out here. The best that you can tell is by your hair color. But the other people in the bar remind him that he's been drinking for free and they've all been paying for it. So if he's not Targaryen, it's going to be a problem. And they conveniently start to chant together to hype him up to go. I thought that was kind of cool. We then switch to white-haired Hugh breaking it to his wife that he wants to go to Dragonstone too, to ride dragons, right? Who likes dragons? His wife asks why he can't just get a job. Right? Why can't you just get a job? She says. And he says, look, my mama was in these streets. And it's a lot of childhood trauma. And there's only one way to make it right. The only way I can make this right and address this regret about losing my daughter is to get me a dragon. And his wife says he's an idiot and that she doesn't really want to see him get taken out and end up as a widower. But this is where we at. We then see him and a long line of other white-haired people boarding some boats, including his cousin brother Ulf. We'll cross that later. We then switch to see the new arrivals come into Dragonstone. Let me switch this back. There we go. Give you out a full deal. We then switch to see the other arrivals coming to Dragonstones. A lot of dragon seeds arriving. And the dragon keepers are upset. They came at her like a union rep. Like, they were so mad that these offspring were showing up like this. And Fernandez, I appreciate you, my guy. First off, shout out to my guy Fernandez. Thank you so much for donating to the channel, $10. I really appreciate that. I like Team Green due to Otto, but I haven't researched who's worse between them two gangs. However, I don't like how they're trying to lead us to the blacks. Like they good people. They're both wrong. No, you 100% right on that. I was again having a conversation with my buddy E-Man about this, and I was explaining this is all Rhaenyra's fault, right? If Rhaenyra wasn't just acting out of pocket when she was younger, just sleeping with whoever she wanted and not caring about consequences, it wouldn't have gotten this far. Sure, Aegon being born was always going to be a challenge to her legitimacy for the throne, but it didn't help that she started rubbing people the wrong way along the way, right? When Kristen Cole switched sides and went Team Green and started fanning the Rhaenyra hate flames, it really, really didn't help her at all. But you're 100% right that the show does lean towards a bias in showing the blacks being more favorable than the greens when the greens are just as much a victim as the blacks. Aemon is only like this because he's been teased a lot and lost an eye. Alicent is only like this because her father forced her into a position to marry the king and have his children. And then those children are only in the position they're in because their mother didn't love them the way that she probably should because of her circumstances. So I'm 100% with you that the greens aren't as bad as the show makes them out to be. They're more so upset. But yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that. I really appreciate that, Fernandez T. Thank you so much for that donation. Let's see. But yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, back to this episode. These dragon riders, they start pressing Rhaenyra like it's a union, right? And they're upset about all these offspring that Rhaenyra is bringing in. And they're like, yo, we don't want to work with these people. And she's trying to get these people dragons. And they say straight up, they ain't working with no dragon bastards and go on strike. Rhaenyra then talks to her Yo, this dude. Rhaenyra then talks to her nephews, nieces, and cousins and gives them motivational speeches, part pep talk, part survival guide, because one wrong move and these seeds are dragon chew. And then she starts taking the dragon seeds down into the dragon pits to try to bond with Vermithor. And man, yo, does this get good? This is when things really pick up. First off, I learned that Rhaenyra could talk to Vermithor, right? I did not know Rhaenyra or Targaryens could be cool with other dragons like that. I didn't know that. I thought once they bonded with their one dragon, that was kind of it. They kind of were close with them. But to see Rhaenyra to have a conversation with Vermithor and touch him, she kind of had a relationship with him. And now I'm just wondering, can all Targaryens talk to all dragons? Is this their thing? How does the magic work? After Vermithor shows up and Rhaenyra gives us that money shot, she gets a volunteer. And then she kind of leaves the extended Targaryens to give it their best shot. Yeah, this was a cool shot right here. This right here I didn't see coming. I'm kind of curious. I might look into it a little bit more. I'm curious. Has there ever been a time when a Targaryen ever bonded with more than one dragon at a time? Or is there some other reason why Vermithor was so cool with her? Like, was Vermithor coupling with her dragon? Like, what was the reason? But yeah, this is a cool little moment seeing her bond with him. We see this money shot with Vermithor standing behind her, kind of mirroring that season 1 image that we saw with Millie Alcock standing in front of Vermithor. Really love this scene. As things go further, we see Jigsaw Targaryen decides that he's going to try first to speak with this dude. And meanwhile, Rhaenyra, she just goes somewhere safe to go watch from a much safer distance. Vermithor looks like a problem, right? Vermithor, like, I knew he was really, really big. I didn't realize how big of a problem he was. Like, he's not quite as big as Vhagar, but he does look fearsome. Vermithor doesn't like the smell of any of these no-frills Targaryens. None of them. Take your family dollar asses back. And he starts roasting them up to the flavor he likes. Oh, he got knocked off a ledge while Hugh runs wisely and hides. And yo, Vermithor just starts going in on the rest of these Targaryens. Yeah, Gothic Chick 4, you absolutely right. They should have known. They should have known. Like, they kind of did know, but one thing that we keep seeing is that, yeah, barbecue. One thing we keep seeing is that the way that these people look at dragons is kind of like, they're almost like religious deities. They're gods. There's something close to gods. There's something that they just can't really fully comprehend. And the idea of the Targaryens being to tame and ride these beasts make the Targaryens more god-like. So now the regular folks are raising the Targaryens up on a pedestal. When these silver-haired, purple-eyed, Valyrian-speaking dragon lords saying they're the rightful heirs of Westeros, it's really hard to question them when they're controlling these fantastical beasts. So, yeah, they should have known, but they also had hope. It's almost like, what if I'm special too? What if you were that person who was always picked on? What if you were your own version of Peter Parker and they said one day you could be Spider-Man too? And that's kind of like how these Targaryens felt. But then Vermithor starts going in on the rest of them and he starts eating all of them, or at least as many as he could. But my guy really did go full kaiju on them. And it was looking wild. Look at this. They got cooked, crosses, burning fire. The even Rhaenyra's guards got burnt. The ones that was holding them back from running. Everybody got cooked just to the way that Vermithor likes. The exact season and flavor. And this is the first time I think I've actually seen a dragon eat people. right? They went full kaiju in this episode, right? I've seen them eat goats and stuff. This is the first time I think I've actually seen a dragon eat people, which is a little unsettling, right? Now he's got a taste for it. But yeah, at least Hugh was man enough to be able to see all of this and have this little moment with this woman here. Now, I was curious about this moment, about this silver-haired woman. When she ran in front of Vermithor, Hugh got up and started to yell at Vermithor in order to save her. And one of the things that crossed my mind was, why did he do it? Why did Hugh risk his life to save hers? And Hugh kind of explained a legit reason why he might have done it, in that his mother was a Targaryen, but she was a woman who worked in the pleasure house. And when he saw her in that moment, I wonder, is this the first time he's been this close to a white-haired woman since his mother, right? When he saw her in danger, he shot up. And it's in that moment that I started to wonder, yeah, I think my guy right here is having a mommy moment. He wanted to save her, and he found that courage. He got up and he got in Vermithor's face and aggressively told him to heal. And I love that, because it's clear that Vermithor respects strength. When Rhaenyra was talking to Vermithor earlier, Vermithor started to get a little, I ain't gonna say he was testing her, but he wasn't really listening right away. But when she was like, obey Vermithor, when she started talking to him a little bit more aggressively, that's when Vermithor was like, all right, you could pet me. And I think that that's what makes the Bronze Fury different than the other dragons. It feels like you have to satisfy some sort of emotional requirement in order for these dragon riders to accept you. He gets in Vermithor's face. He tells him to heal. Vermithor respects it. And we see, out of all these half-breeds, Vermithor has picked a rider. Fernandez T. I was damn sure they would make one of these beautiful silver-haired ladies a dragon rider for more eye candy for the viewers, but alas. So it's not too late if you want to see more silver-haired beauties riding dragons. In the next episode's preview, they did have a moment where they show Aemond speaking with, well, hold on. Spoiler alert for any of y'all who like to go into these episodes pure. I'm going to give you a second, cover your ears. But there is a preview in which Aemond is talking with Helaena. And he tells Helaena, look, I'm going to need you to hop on Dreamfire and we're going to ride out into battle. And that is setting up for the final episode. It's not going to be a 20v1, right? We not jumping Drake today. This looks like they about to have a fair fight, because they keep reminding us that there's another Targaryen named Daeron who has a blue dragon that is just taken to wing, and Helaena has a really, really large dragon called Dreamfire. I think her dragon is like, I want to say it's bigger than Rhaenyra's, but smaller than Daemon's. It's like maybe about the same size as Adam's dragon now. So we're gonna see some more silver-haired ladies on dragons. Just you wait. This next finale, we up in there, Fernandez. They got us. But yeah, yo, Ulf claimed the dragon, and I'm cool with him getting Vermithor. I'm curious to see how this turns out, because this is Jace's big problem right here. This dude right here, this is Jace's big problem for after Rhaenyra takes the throne and it's time for Jace to ascend. He's going to have the biggest dragon in the world if they take the Iron Throne, because I'm assuming Vhagar would have to go. But yeah, let's see how this story progresses from here. We then go on to see that my guy Ulf, yo, he's an interesting dude. He goes even further into the dragon pits while running for safety. And he somehow he didn't even realize that he was stepping in dragon eggs. Did you guys see that? He stepped on dragon eggs. Like, he stepped in it. Like, he took out. It looked like he took out a dragon. I mean, he did notice eventually, when he noticed that my guy has stumbled on a Silverwing. But yeah, he stepped in dragon eggs and maybe some hot dragon poop. But he definitely broke a dragon egg. But Silverwing pops up. And when we're sitting here wondering, like, yo, is he about to go full Vermithor on him? He's about to eat him? Is he going to give him a hard time? No. Silverwing surprises us all and just immediately swipes right. We didn't see Aemond and his ultra small council going over war strategy and letting us know that Prince Daeron's dragon Caesarion has taken to wing and expects to join the fight. Now, here's the wild thing to me is because we learned this last episode. We learned that Daeron's dragon Caesarion took to wing when Alicent was speaking with her brother Gwaine in the yard. And he was like, yeah, he's flying. He's cool. He's ready to join the fight. But Aemond is just now finding out. I don't know how many days it's been or how much time has passed, but Aemond is the last to know this information. And we now know that his small council is withholding information from him selectively because they all hate him too. Oh, Fernandez, what you got for me? Fernandez T says, is it possible that is the reason why the dragon chose him? Maybe one of the qualifications was to break one of their stale eggs. Maybe that egg had a sick baby, so the rider destroying it pleased her. I know that's a stretch, but you think it's possible. I mean, anything's possible, right? I can't, anything is possible, 100%. Is this a reason? I don't know. You know, a lot of times when I'm going to like fall back to the normal maternal things outside of drag or instincts that I see out of animals outside of dragons. Like if you go by a bird nest, right? As a human being, you go in the nest, you see the eggs. If you touch one of them eggs, it's a wrap. Either the bird is going to attack you before you get to touch it, or if you actually get your scent and the oil from your skin on the egg shell, they're going to crush the egg themselves. They don't like their eggs being handled by other people. And it usually gets a really bad reaction. It's definitely possible, but I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, I just feel like Silverwing is a much more playful dragon. When you think about kind of like how Aegon's dragon was, right? It was a beautiful golden dragon. And as soon as he saw it, it's like rubbed noses with him. I'm wondering if this is if Silverwing is more like that. She's a she dragon. I believe she couples with Vermithor, and those are her and Vermithor's eggs. But I think she's just a little bit more chill than her husband. But yeah, that's anything is possible. I'm curious to see if we learn more about why dragons choose their riders as the show goes on. I think our next big opportunity will be if Rhaena finds that wild dragon in the Vale that I think is Sheep Stealer. I think that's Sheep Stealer. So we'll see. But yeah, it's an interesting question. I'm curious about that. I'm going to remember to dig that up and try to come back to that in another video for you. But yeah, Aemond, his ultra small council meeting, none of these guys like him. They're not telling him information when they get it. And he is just now finding that Daeron's dragon took to wing. They definitely didn't tell him about the sightings of sea smoke with a rider, even though they learned that at the beginning of the episode. Because while they're in this meeting, we hear that there's a ruckus going on outside. And they hear the ruckus because there's a dragon flying over King's Landing. We see the scorpion arrow is not fast enough to shoot at it. And then we see my guy Ulf flying around on Silverwing going for a joyride. These guys had a good idea with the scorpion gun, but you got to be a little faster, bro. You got to be a little faster. What's the point? I like how Aemond quickly got on the bat cycle and tried to ride out to go grab Vhagar. And the two of them immediately start chasing Ulf to go see what the F is going on. I like how Aemond is ready. He's always ready for the smoke. He's always ready. But That's until he sees that they're heading to Dragonstone. And even with one eye's limited vision and peripheral, he still thinks twice about what he's getting himself into. And I like how Vhagar still kind of seems to want to fight. And he's like, nah, man, flee. This is not good. This is not a good situation. Vhagar is ready for the smoke, but Aemon is smart enough not to keep going in that direction. And we see why. It kind of looked like it was a trap. On one hand, I'm like, all right, there's no way Ulf was sent out there on purpose. But the other hand, I'm like, how the heck did he get all the way from Dragonstone to King's Landing and nobody went chase? Nobody tried to stop him. Rhaenyra knew that she needed a dragon seed. She didn't want to try to bring this. Nobody, nothing. So then it started to make me wonder, what if this was a trap for Vhagar? Yeah, it's kind of soon to be setting traps because he just got the dragon. But I had to stop and think about it. Rhaenyra is not. There's a possibility she's having some temporary insanity, because you got to think about it. Since the end of last season, when her son Luke was taken out by Vhagar, she's been bottling in her rage. We see this look on her face sometimes, and it's just full of rage. But she can't really express it because she's got the wisdom of Viserys tempering it. She wants to take out and go to war against the Greens. She wants to take her dragon and attack King's Landing, but she's got a lot of responsibility. This is the first moment with her, Vermithor, Silverwing, and Sea Smoke with 4 dragons. This is absolutely the very first moment when she actually had enough weaponry to win. And I wonder, in that moment when she's just like, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4 dragons, let's go avenge Luke. Did she have a moment where she was just like, get him? Was she anxious to go and get at the person who took out her son? But yeah, that was an incredible episode. It was an amazing way that it ended. I really, really enjoyed this episode. I can't wait to see what they do next week. But yeah, that is everything that I had for this week. Oh my goodness, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. Thank you all so much. I know there's some of you who are checking in on Facebook, some of you who are checking in on YouTube. For all my Instagram people, thank you. I appreciate y'all for watching this live stream. I do it all for you. I'd like to do this again next week. Let me know if you like these weekly recaps. I can continue doing House of the Dragon. I can also continue adding in this movie news, and I might even sprinkle in some reviews and interviews. Maybe I'll just start bringing actors and directors onto the show itself. But I really appreciate you all. If you checked out this live stream, don't forget promotions at themovieblog.com. I'm giving out a swag bag of goodies straight to your mailbox. Hit me up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Otherwise, I'm going to check you all later. Peace.